up, y'all? How's it going with y'all, man? This is Devani, and this is another video, another training video for y'all. That's basically just going to give y'all some more outlooks of YMDR. If y'all have not been able to check out these videos are on the website, and yeah, they're there in case you need to check them out, because this is just a simple breakdown of YMDR through videos instead of just, reading it through, the little website thing, because it's a very long, list of stuff. And these are just short videos that kind of give you an outlook of what you're getting out of YMDR. So yeah, y'all, let's get into it. This one pretty much is going to talk about why is YMDR not a part of the business world or the nonprofit world. So before we get into this, I'm gonna basically just explain to y'all the little basis of why it's not a part of that, and why there's a little bit of a system that doesn't fit into the business world of it. And yeah, y'all, I'm just gonna go into that first. So what I don't know is about this sort of way that YMDR was this was kind of a developed way. So it wasn't always considered the way that it used to be. So like what I mean by that is basically YMDR started off as a label. That's what I was going to create it to be, was a music label, which would be a independent record label, is what I was basically trying to make it. But I realized that if I made it an independent record label, you feel me, I didn't have enough people or enough resources to kind of make it that. And so that's why, more or less, I couldn't create it to be that. So for a long time, it went on as a freedom of expression group. So that's where I was at. I was like, man, okay, I'll just create it as a freedom of expression group. So I tried it as a freedom of expression group. It worked out pretty much for the most part. There were people who came in and people who dipped out. But as far as it becoming something that was good for even a freedom of expression group, it kind of even then wasn't something that was working. It wasn't a system that was still being taken seriously, because I got people who were in it and they basically would be like, well, I want to be a part of it, but they would actually not, follow up with what they said. You feel me? And so it would be very difficult to kind of do and regulate YMDR in that sense, when people are just saying, well, I want to be a part of it, but then they just back out of it and just don't want to necessarily be in it anymore and don't want to understand it anymore. None of that. So it was just a little bit of hard difficulties in that. Some of it was, I was kind of still in issues with different things. I didn't really feel up to knowing if YMDR was something that God wanted me to do. I was very broken in that situation, because it was just very hard for me because of the fact that it was something that I was trying to use as a blessing, and I didn't know if anybody was even going to take care of it or even wanted to know that it was there to help them. Like all those sort of things regulated through my mind when I had to kind of deal with that sort of issue. And so a lot of what happened was I kept it as a freedom of expression group, but I had some highs and I had some lows. There were some situations where people stole from YMDR a long time ago. It was last year, about 2013, was it? Or something between that. My cousin stole from it, and then there were some people who stole from it. One day when I had the donation jar, when I was out there doing street performances, somebody stole something from it. So it was just a lot of very messed up situations that kind of regulated as to why I wasn't able to actually do YMDR fully, and it not go anywhere the way I would want it to go, because it was just so much turmoil in what I was trying to do, because it just seemed like people didn't necessarily know or cared about what I was trying to actually create. And so yeah, that was pretty much why I just kept it as a freedom of expression group. I met some people along the way. A dude named Freedom, he kind of invited me, and I talked to him about different things that had to do with the business world. and kind of just creating businesses in that way. And me being the person I am, I know a little bit about the business world, so I know how it works in some cases. Even kind of when it comes to the marketing technician, marketing technicalities a little bit. I know a little bit of that stuff. And so, you feel me? Like, I just didn't know necessarily if YMDR would fit into the business world because of the fact that, the business world has a very deep outlook on things that only are interested in business. You feel me? People don't necessarily tell you, oh, well, you're doing this and it has a purpose and you're doing it because you care about this. No, some of it is more or less just, I want your money. I want your money. Give me your money because I got this that actually can show you how much you need, how much I need your money. You feel me? That's the way that it seems like the business world has became. And that's the way that it was still, because, he was just telling me about different things, and it just seemed as if he made a business world that seemed more like it was just about money, power, and corruption. And it seemed as if that's just what business was about to me. And me being the person that I am, as a person of God, I understand, I guess, a better outlook of business that most people don't understand. You feel me? So I understood business, but I also understood that some things were different and more clearer to people than just business. Because, like, let's be real with ourselves. Like, putting a price on a person because they do this, because they do that, or because they do this, that's not really, I feel like in my mind, that's not a good thing to do, because what you're doing is you're draining a person of their energy by just thinking that they're just a comma mark, by thinking that they're just a business mark. You feel me? Like, just use everything out of them until there's nothing left. To me, that just doesn't make any sense. And so I created YMDR kind of outside of the business world, kind of because of that, because of the fact that, I understand business. I even do business when it comes to the representation of my group. If people need services from me, I charge them for it, but you see, I give them a free system as well. And so I don't completely follow the tactics that the business world follows, but yet I understand the business world in a way that says, this isn't just about your money. This isn't just about your resources. This isn't just about that. It's just about, I care for you as a person. I understand what you need me to understand about you when it comes to this situation. And I understand that the resources that I can do and what I can do to help you, I will use those resources to the best of my abilities. You feel me? So that's the way that I've always been when it came to business. I've never wanted business to be something that people always think of as a corruptive business. I just wanted business to be something that reflected something that was God-centered, because that's a lot of what business doesn't reflect. I read in the Bible that it talks about how business is, work as if you are working for the Lord, not for man. That's a verse that I've read in the Bible that says those things. And it gives me a very good outlook to say that, well, wait, maybe business is not bad at all. And maybe it just needs to be done the way God would want us to do it, instead of through corruption and pain and misery and all that other stuff, manipulation and all that other stuff. Maybe that's just what it is. It needs to be done in a corrective manner rather than in a incorrective manner. And so what I was choosing to do with YMDR is basically make a proposition to the business world that maybe, just maybe, they may need business that is actually God-centered. Maybe that's what it is. Because the business that we have right now is a business that is filled with corruption. If you go anywhere, you're going to see that through the businesses that people do what they're doing. It's all being done through a systematic sense of corruption. The views that a person is getting on YouTube, you feel me? They're using those things to kind of get more clout, and then some of them even go as far as to using it for more corruption. But you feel me? I'm not the one who's doing that. You feel me? Everything that is done on this channel is done genuinely. Like, I give it to the people, and the views that I get from it is the way that it goes. But most of it is because I haven't necessarily told a lot of people of how it was and how it became what it became, and not because I couldn't, but it's just because I needed to kind of get my money straight and my investing straight to kind of resort it and kind of help you guys to kind of get a bigger picture of it. And so that's a little bit of why I kind of postponed it on telling them this is what it actually was. And anybody, that's why they don't necessarily know, that this is what YMDR is. But yeah, that's what it is. It's a business world that is filled with honesty and truth. It's not something that I'm using to manipulate people. Anybody who I've done business with, they know it's genuine, it's real, it's not fake. I'm not using it to just get your money and that's it. No, like I care about you as a person. I care about the reputation that I'm giving you when I even put on a show for you, or I care about what I'm doing by impacting you with the things that I'm able to impact you with. I care about those sort of things. And so I guess it's just on my tip, I have a different outlook on the business world that the business world doesn't necessarily accept. So I created YMDR to make a statement to the business world that this is a business that is God-centered. And yes, that to some people can be a little weird because you got CHH and you got the mainstream and you got people who think that, well, why are you even creating business that is God, always has to be God-centered? If you're entertaining somebody, you're an entertainer. This is something that I've heard from somebody. And yes, that's true. I understand entertainment. I understand you can be an entertainer. I understand that you can do business with people. But I also understand that business that is done through genuine outlooks is real business. It's not business that's being done through fake news-related lies. You feel me? Because there's so many things that are out here in business world that really just gives you a bunch of fake lies. Take take any business that anybody is running and think of how they've set you up and how you've been able to get into their information about what they wanted you to do. And think about how they've manipulated a little bit of their services to you. Think about how you probably had to pay so much money to do this, and they basically just wiped everything out, completely wiped everything out to where you can't call them to do this, hello, you're on the phone trying to call them like, homie, like you supposed to be telling me what's going on with the situation and you're not, because you feel me, they're not a legit business. And so like, a lot of what I feel that I'm doing is actually stepping out on a limb and saying to the world that you can make business good. It's not a thing of business can be good and it can't be ran goodly. It can't be ran that way. But it's just a thing of people just don't do that. You feel me? They don't do it that way. A lot of business is about hustle. It's about, grinding. It's about surviving. It's about hustle. That's dang near where everybody throws at you. And sometimes I feel like it can be like that. But like when it's done for purposes that are always done off of bad intentions and evil, manipulation, like I feel like that's just not something that business has to be about. You can create business and you can make it the way you want to make it. But you see, that's a little bit of why I let people step into the world of YMDR, because what it does is it shows you that you can genuinely make business the way it actually can be created, and it can be created through genuine purposes. You can create it through genuine art, not stuff that's just being done because, he faking this or he faking that, or this person's mumble rapping and that person doesn't even do what he's saying he does, like Slim Jesus, but you see, like, that's just what I'm doing when I create what I create. and why, YMDR isn't a part of a business. Now, I'll go into a little bit of why it's not a nonprofit. A nonprofit has certain systems and regulations that kind of go the same way too. You have to do certain things that kind of helps you with putting in, the work that you're putting in for those sort of things, and it has to kind of line up with how you're able to do it. And that's how they're able to kind of fund you on that purposes of you being a nonprofit. Now, obviously, I've heard of a business that does this kind of thing still, and they're kind of in the same, it's kind of in the same realm as mine, Humble Beast. Humble Beast, their representation of a little bit of what they do is almost what I've kind of regulated in doing. I'm not saying that it was something that I built off of their platform. It was something that I created that they already probably did in a different system in a different system and in a different city that they probably could do it in, because I possibly possibly didn't know or even could know that that was something that they were doing in that process. But yeah, y'all, when it comes down to it, like, they give music away freely, and you also have their music on iTunes. That's something that I was thinking about doing too when it comes to my music, or when it comes to the things that I create. But you see, obviously, I ain't got producers. I don't have people who can actually make my stuff sound pretty good. So it's like I'm doing this sort of thing in my own kind of boat right now. That's a little bit of why, I'm trying to go to different churches and try to go there and tell people about how they can use my platform, and they can use it to kind of help me in this situation, to kind of spread, this sort of thing that has been going on for like 3 years. I've done YMDR for 3 solid years, and that's the way it's been. You feel me? Like, I want and hope that people can use their talents to glorify God, and also just help each other as a team, as the body of Christ. And it's like, that's a little bit of what I haven't gotten when I created YMDR. But obviously, a little bit of when it comes to the nonprofit thing, that's a little bit of why, when you look into like the nonprofit world, that's the systematic things that has to do with a nonprofit doesn't almost fit up with what YMDR is. And I mean, I'm not saying it couldn't be that sort of thing. Like, obviously, if you don't know, and if anybody doesn't know, I reached out to Humble Beast about that sort of thing, because I was really intrigued and understood and knew a lot of what they were doing that kind of had to do with that sort of system of what they were doing. And I asked them, simply like, what would you have to do in order to kind of do the things that they're doing? And obviously, I didn't get an answer back. They're probably busy people. They have to do different things, and probably have to, get different things out there. I'm not somebody who makes it seem like, I don't understand, different things, because, they may just very, very much have a lot of emails. People may very much understand what they're doing, and they may just, need more than one email, or probably lost it or whatever. But like, that's something that I was just thinking about when I had to kind of think of how to process if people were even using YMDR for the purposes that it has. Because let's be real with each other. I've done YMDR for this long, and it's always been for the culture of the people who do music. It's been for the people who do art. It's been for the people who do poetry, who do books, who make crafts of anything. It's always been about that. Whether you do photography, whether you do this, whether you do that, it's always been for those people. The people who people don't pay attention to. The people who do art, the people who do all these different things, but yet nobody's trying to pay attention to them. YMDR has been for those people. And so it gives those people that chance to do that. And like, that's a little bit of why a nonprofit, in a sense, is, I've still, like I said, I've had to really reach out to people that kind of run their system in that way. And that's a little bit of why, I've kind of just done YMDR the way that it is. It's a freedom of expression group right now. And it will kind of continue to be that until I can basically get somebody to be involved with YMDR, you know, until I build a team, or until I hear back from Humble Beast about, you know, what they basically did in order to create, you know, their system of them still being a non-profit. Yeah, y'all, that's pretty much what I got for y'all on this video. If you liked it, hope that you like, share, comment. Tell me what you think of this video, man. I know I made this mug, and you know it was kind of was a little kind of just told you some stuff kind of the way that it was. But yeah, y'all, I hope that you get something out of it, man. And you know, I hope y'all have a good day. And I'll be checking with y'all later. Peace out, man.